I was like dating older guys, right? I was, what, 20?
I was only 15 years old, so
Goldie Hawn has always been Hollywood's golden girl, known for her infectious laugh, blonde charm, and decades of box office success. But behind that iconic smile, there's always been a deeper, quieter story she kept close to her heart. Now, at 79, she's letting the world in on a secret she never thought she would share. This confession isn't about her glittering career or even her famous partner Kurt Russell. It's about something far more personal and far more surprising. For decades, fans thought they knew everything about her love life. Turns out they only knew half the story. The revelation happened during a moment no one expected. Live on stage at the 2025 Oscars with the world watching, Goldie dropped a line so vulnerable and raw, it left the audience stunned. What followed wasn't a press tour or PR spin, but the unraveling of a love story hidden for over half a century. Goldie Hawn's story began in a home filled with rhythm and art. Her mother ran a dance school and a jewelry shop, while her father was a classically trained musician. That creative energy surrounded her from day one. Dance and music weren't hobbies. They were a way of life. By age 3, she was already taking ballet and tap classes, performing in the Nutcracker before most kids could spell it. But beneath the joy, something was quietly missing. Goldie and her sister Patty grew up unaware of an older brother, Edward Jr., who had died before Patty was born. The family never spoke of him, but his absence left a mark. The silent grief of her parents created an atmosphere of emotional depth that shaped Goldie in ways she didn't fully understand until much later. That early exposure to both artistic expression and unspoken sorrow gave her a rare emotional sensitivity. It helped her performances resonate, whether comedic or serious, because she wasn't just acting. She was channeling something real. Even as a young dancer managing her own ballet school, Goldie stood out not just for her talent, but for the feelings she poured into every step. Goldie's leap from ballet shoes to national stardom came fast and loud. In 1968, she joined Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, a chaotic, wildly popular sketch show that made her household name almost overnight. With her wide-eyed giggle and ditzy blonde persona, she stole scenes and hearts. But behind the bubbly act was a razor-sharp performer who knew exactly how to land a punchline. Hollywood quickly took notice, and in 1969, she was cast in Cactus Flower. This wasn't just another laugh track. It was a dramatic role that let her show vulnerability and emotional nuance. Critics were stunned, and so was the Academy. She walked away with an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, officially shedding the just funny label forever. Throughout the 70s and 80s, she dominated in hits like Shampoo and Private Benjamin, a film she co-produced. Goldie wasn't just a leading lady. She was a one-woman box office force. While most comedies were led by men, she created space for witty, emotional, and smart female leads. She proved that a woman could be funny, bankable, and the face of a film, all at once. Before Kurt Russell entered the picture, Goldie Hawn walked through 2 marriages that shaped and scarred her deeply. Her first husband, dancer Gus Triconis, married her just as her star began to rise. But while she lit up screens, his career struggled to keep pace. The growing gap between their worlds slowly tore them apart, not in a dramatic explosion, but in quiet, inevitable distance. Then came Bill Hudson, musician, actor, and whirlwind romance. They met on a flight and were married within the year. It was passionate, fast, and soon complicated. Despite having 2 children, Oliver and Kate, Goldie couldn't ignore her doubts. On their wedding day, she even asked, "Are you sure we did the right thing?" That one question haunted them both, as cracks formed beneath the surface. When they divorced, things turned ugly. Bill accused her of keeping him from the kids, while Goldie focused on creating a stable home. Oliver and Kate eventually distanced themselves from Bill, calling Kurt Russell their real dad. The media painted conflicting images, one calling her distant, the other selfish. But behind all the noise was a woman trying to balance love, fame, and family in a world that rarely forgives imperfection. Goldie first met Kurt Russell in 1966 on the set of the one and only genuine, original Family Band. She was 21, full of energy and drive, while he was just 16, a quiet, charming newcomer. Nothing romantic sparked between them then, but Goldie never forgot his sweet awkwardness. At the time, he was just adorable, a fleeting moment in her busy rise to stardom. Fast forward 17 years to the 1984 film Swing Shift. Goldie had signed on, and Kurt came to audition, slightly hungover, nervous, and charmingly unfiltered. "Man, you've got a great figure," he blurted. Most actresses would have rolled their eyes. Goldie laughed. That line, raw and perfect, broke the ice and set off something real. They went dancing that night, ended up breaking into her own house, and laughed their way through what should have been a disaster. From that night on, something shifted. Goldie saw in Kurt what she hadn't found in others: genuine warmth and zero interest in her fame. As their connection deepened on set, it grew off-screen too. He didn't try to impress her, he just showed up, flaws and all. Their bond wasn't built on a whirlwind romance. It was built on spontaneity, honesty, and laughter. And from that moment, it never faded. Goldie and Kurt's relationship broke all the Hollywood rules. And that's exactly why it lasted. They never married, never signed a paper, yet built one of the most admired partnerships in showbiz. What bonded them wasn't tradition, but trust. Goldie said it best: love means waking up and choosing each other every single day. No diamond ring ever defined what they had. Their moments together, whether on screen or on red carpets, were always natural and warm. At the 1989 Oscars, they joked about marriage in front of millions. Goldie teasing, Kurt playing coy. But it wasn't a bit. That playful energy was just who they were. And when they starred together in Overboard and The Christmas Chronicles, their chemistry wasn't acted, it was real. Still, their most touching moment came in 2017 on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Receiving their stars side by side, Kurt turned to Goldie and said, "To you I owe my wonderful life." No script, no show, just raw truth that made Goldie tear up and reminded the world what real love looks like. Not flashy, not perfect, but built on laughter, respect, and showing up for each other year after year. At the 2025 Academy Awards, Goldie Hawn did something few celebrities dare. She dropped the act. While presenting an award with Andrew Garfield, she revealed she was losing her vision due to cataracts. "I'm completely blind," she said, pausing the room into silence. It wasn't rehearsed, dramatic, or meant to steal headlines. It was raw, real, and deeply human. What followed was an outpouring of support, but also a flood of unwanted attention. Tabloids speculated about her looks, accusing her of cosmetic procedures without proof. Her heartfelt confession was twisted into a spectacle. Goldie had opened a vulnerable door, and the media barged in, analyzing every wrinkle and word. What was meant as a quiet truth became headline bait overnight. Privately, Goldie regretted the reveal, not because of shame, but because of the circus it invited. She hadn't wanted to be pitted or dissected, yet even as gossip swirled, she remained composed. With her family by her side and her son cracking jokes online, Goldie stayed grounded. She's never chased the spotlight, and when it turned cold, she simply stepped back into the warmth of her real life. Goldie Hawn's greatest role was never in a film. It was the life she built behind the scenes. At 79, she's shown us that love isn't about grand gestures or perfect scripts, but about laughter, resilience, and choosing someone again and again. Whether battling fame's glare, navigating heartbreak, or simply finding joy in her blended family, Goldie's truth has always been quietly powerful. And now that she's finally shared it, the world sees her not just as a star, but as a woman who lived, loved, and never stopped shining.